feeling so good from the inside out, better than your morning would feel without. Stretching our self-awareness every weekday morning like a muscle. To feel so good, to feel so great, to feel better all the time objectively. How's that even possible? With the help of your only no-nonsense podcast brought to you through the Best Feeling Network and the help of your own body from the inside out. As we are all living in this simulation, aren't we? In which we die every 5 minutes, but that timer is reset with a breath. I invite you to hold your controller properly alongside with us today by pretending that there is a candle in front of your lips. It's just flickering there. And this flickering candle exists in the imagination of every person's mind, that there is a candle flickering in front of their lips that they're trying to not put out. And by simply placing your awareness on this candle in front of everyone's lips that we're each trying to not put out, it's just flickering there. They're not thinking about exhaling and inhaling. We are now holding our controller similarly more closer to the truth together. Welcome to another Mover Monday. It is Monday, October 18th, 2021, 5:38 a.m. Another Mover Monday. We will be talking about permission. Your body's permission. Yes, your body gives itself energy to act, but does it also give itself permission? We'll be right back after this short break to talk about your body and permission on Mover Monday, where we talk about another concept about you, the mover, this amazing mover that you are, as we're always breaking down misconceptions brought onto us from society and the world and ourselves. We'll be right back here on Pagawan. My name is Herbie. Good morning, everybody. This is absolutely Pagawan. We'll be right back, as long as you feel the front of your shins. Yes, our body gives itself energy to act, whether that be waking up this morning, whether that be walking around, whether that be eating some cereal. What are you doing today? Are you setting your day up, getting ready for the entire new week coming up? What you doing today? Have you started your coffee? Have you gotten some food? Have you talked to some friends? Have you talked to the family, the lover? How art thou doing today? Our bodies exert energy to act, but how familiar do we make ourselves with our body's idea of giving permission to act? What do you mean, Herbie? We are acting, but we also must give ourselves permission to act? Wherever you are, whether you are with the friends, whether you are outside, whether you are inside, whether you are eating, whether you are listening to music, whether you are driving in a car right now. Whatever it may be that you are doing, any point in time, there might be a muscle on your body constricting, that is activated, that is tightening. Our muscles only have two modes. They are simple in structure, however, probably complex in makeup, in composition. As in, each muscle, as you know, only has an on and off mode, whether it be constricting or relaxed. Now, if your entire body is this body bag where you have muscles on the back side of you, on the front side of you, on the left side of you, the right side of you, and all encased in this skin and held together with viscera and all sorts of flesh and tissue, this big body bag you are. Although your arms may be separate from your legs, you are all encased in this one wholeness, right? And so at any point in time, although you may be punching with your right arm, there may be muscles in your back lower glutes or anywhere else in your body that might be tightening, that may be activated at any point in time. Isn't that true? Your entire body, different states of consciousness are active, entire body potential muscles that may be constricting. Is that not true? As every muscle has an on or an off switch. It's either on or it's off. It's either tightened or it's let go. How familiar are we with the feeling of the letting go process of the muscles? We're very familiar with the activating portion of the muscle. As in, when we activate it, how familiar are we with the action of letting go of the muscle? And so when we want to punch with our right arm, may there be other parts on the body that may possibly be tightening, may possibly be being activated, that may not be necessarily related to the action that you're trying to perform, like a right punch, and the back side of you starts tightening up. Doesn't the back side of you, as you are all this one big body bag, doesn't the back side of you and every part unrelated to the punch must be in relaxed mode in order to give your entire body enough permission to get this punch out as best as possible, without as much restriction, without restraint, without damage to the self? How? By causing all of the unrelated muscles to the balance of this motion to be in relaxed mode. But how familiar are we with encouraging a relaxed mode? Aren't we mostly just familiar with causing the action mode, the tightening portion of the action of a muscle? We don't often coordinate the feeling of this negative pressure of letting go of a muscle. Not often, depending on how well you do your workout regimen. And even then, how often is it a focus on the letting go of a muscle, the giving permission, as opposed to simply using a muscle that pushes that bone in the opposite direction, or pushes your arm in the opposite direction, which would still be activating muscles and not releasing the muscles? Does your body all over give itself permission to allow whatever action you may be allowing to prioritize in your body? Whether that be walking, throwing a punch, sitting up, moving your neck, Does the rest of your body agree and give itself permission to release unrelated muscles to allow this motion to happen with grace, without pain? If you're trying to relax your spine, it might not be beneficial to be trying to activate the muscles that would activate if you were trying to place the weight into your tailbone. But as we know, the weight of the body goes down the front of your spine as we are holding our controller properly together. The weight-bearing portion of the spine is the front. If you would, say it with me, even if it's just in your head. The weight-bearing portion of the spine is the front. And the weight is then delivered equally, boom, across these rainbow arches into the sitting surface which you were on. And so if there's a design into which the way your body wants to be placing that weight, would it not cause extra tension? Would it not cause extra friction, extra conflict? Should you be not allowing the muscles to let go of trying to deliver weight into the tailbone? But once these muscles let go, are we not giving permission for the weight to be delivered into its proper channels of the weight-bearing portions of the body, which are the bones, which can handle all that weight? Please place the weight of the body on the front of the shins, as the back of those fleshy calves cannot hold your weight, but rather you want the weight on the front of those shins. And we'll be right back to give ourselves permission, but only if you remember that the tip of the tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. Remember to achieve this muscular freedom through balance. Wherever you are, whenever thou art. I hope you're feeling the weight of the body down the front of the shins. Good morning. Let's supercharge our morning, you superhuman you. You superhuman you. As we are always allowing all of these words to go in one ear, whoop, out the other. As we latch onto the meanings of what is being said. Always, as we are always reacting to meaning, not object. How are you this morning? Or maybe it's afternoon or evening wherever you are. Hello. Are you welcoming yourself into the last half of October properly? It is October 18th, 2021, Monday, October 18th, 2021. What are thou up to today? Are you driving your car? Are you walking outside? Are you walking the kids to school? Are you walking the dog? Are you in space right now? Are you in a cafe right now? Where are you moving, you beautiful mover, you? Whatever you are doing, let me just remind you that the tip of your tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth, but you will do whatever you want to do at the end of the day. Even if we remember that the back 1/3 of our tongue is vertical, up and down, up and down, up and down, we will do what we want to do at the end of the day. We will do what our bodies give us permission to do at the end of the day. What kind of permission does your body give itself when we think about placing a candle in front of our lips, or pretending that there's a candle in front of our lips just flickering there? In front of everybody's lips that are just flickering there, and in their mind's eye, they're not trying to put that candle out. They're trying to not put that candle out. They're not thinking about exhaling, you're not thinking about exhaling. And they're not thinking about inhaling, and you're not thinking about inhaling. Simply that there's a candle in front of your lips that you're trying to not put out. We're leaving our swallowing muscles alone as we remember that the tips of our tongues want to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. How does that feel for you? If we are remembering that there is a candle in front of our lips that we're trying to each not put out, and remembering that the tip of your tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth as we allow this candle to rest, are we giving ourselves permission to remember that the back 1/3 of our tongues is vertical and allowing our bodies to give itself permission to move in the way that it believes it wants to move? Is action more about outputting action from our body, or more about removing the conflict or barriers that prevent us from acting? By making way for our bodies to act on their own, do we actually achieve more action through trying to output action, or trying to reduce conflict? Trying to give ourselves permission when permission used to not be available? Do we create more action by trying to force output, or do we create more action by reducing obstacles? By reducing the stoppages, reducing the blockers of action? What allows freedom? Us trying to force freedom, or us trying to remove the blockers of freedom, the imbalances? What allows more freedom? The attempt to output freedom, to output action, to enforce freedom, impose freedom, or to simply remove barriers that would otherwise inhibit freedom? Like imbalance to the body would otherwise inhibit muscular freedom. Must we try to impose our will onto the body and then onto the world? Or must we only find where we have not been giving ourselves permission to do so? How do we find our areas in which we have not given ourselves permission to do so? Well, how quickly is your pathway from whatever you are doing to remembering that there is a candle in front of not just your lips, but everybody's lips that they're trying to not put out? And they're not thinking about exhaling or inhaling. In this simulation of ours in which we die every 5 minutes, but that timer is reset with a breath, How much permission does your body and mind give itself to reorganize itself when its awareness is placed on the proper channels? How likely is your body to give itself permission to move and to rebalance itself and to rid itself of imbalance when we remember that the tips of our tongues want to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth? And notice how far forward of the body that feels. As we notice how far forward of the body it feels for the tip of the tongue to want to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth, should we move our awareness now further back and remember that the back 1/3 of the tongue wants to be vertical? Does our body give itself permission to still feel this feeling very forward of us, or does it feel now that it's placed too far behind? This feeling of the back 1/3 of the tongue is vertical. Does our body give itself permission to feel that in front of our consciousness, the same way that the tip of the tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth? Does our body give itself permission to move and stretch and shrink its self-awareness in that way? Or does it feel blocked and restrained? Today I challenge you to observe where you might not be giving yourself permission to act with freedom in your life today, whether that be in the body, whether that be metaphysically, whether that be with your friends and family and social circles, whether that be in your careers, whether that be in your hobbies. I challenge you to observe today yourself and where you do not give yourself permission to act with freedom, where you do not give yourself permission to correct for imbalances in your body, which would otherwise give you freedom. I challenge you today to observe that there's a candle in front of you, not just your lips, but every human's lips that you're trying to not put out. Because we're not thinking about exhaling or inhaling, but rather we'll just be right back on Pagawan. But only if you remember that the back 1/3 of the tongue is vertical, up and down, up and down. We'll be right back.